We have just started a new year. Most of us at some point in the new year spend some time thinking about the events that shaped our lives in the past year, both good and bad, and we reflect on what we hope the new year will bring. Then we extend that line of thought to the people we care about and hope that the new year will bring good things to them too. We like to think of the new year as a fresh start. It's a new beginning of what we hope will be bigger and better things than what the last year held for us and our loved ones. That's how I've always approached the new year, but I find having cancer changed my perspective a bit. Of course, I have reflected on the past year and I have hopes for the coming one, but they are secondary. My primary thoughts on the new year are the same as my thoughts most other days now. That is, I'm still alive. 3 years ago, when I was told how far my cancer had advanced, I didn't know if I would still be here, but I am. Each day is a gift I wasn't taking for granted then, and I still don't. I don't want to waste any of my precious time worrying about what happened in the past, and I have no guarantees about the future. So I try to live right here, right now. That, of course, applies to every one of us. But I think we have to have something life-threatening happen to us before we realize it. The Baal Shem Tov said, "The world is new to us every morning. This is the Holy One's gift, and every person should believe they are reborn each day." The Baal Shem Tov is considered the founder of the Hasidic movement in Judaism. This philosophy of considering each day a new gift may be why the Hasids seem to find more joy in their religion than the rest of us do. Think about how your life might be different if you approached every day the same way you do the new year. How much less time would you waste on regrets and nursing petty grievances? How much more would you appreciate being alive? Would you approach the day with more optimism and less fear if you regarded it as a gift from God instead of something you had to get through so you could do it all again tomorrow? As I thought about my own life in the new year, I couldn't help but think about our life here at Beth Israel from the same perspectives. When we reflect on our past as a congregation, we can do it in either a positive or a negative way. The choice is ours. I can remember coming here for holiday celebrations when it was necessary to come early in order to get a seat. Now, even on holidays, we have more empty seats than full ones. If we view all those empty seats as a loss, it could make for a depressing new year. But we have the option of looking at empty seats where former congregants sat and thank God for the gift of having had those people among us. They may be gone physically, but their contributions to us, both personally and as a congregation, will never leave us. If we dwell too much on the future of our shoal as we begin this new year, that too could be very depressing. Barring a minor miracle, our future is probably a very short one at this point. We don't like to think about that, but at the beginning of the year, it's hard not to. Can we help but wonder if we will still be here next year? We have to think about our future, but we should never think about tomorrow at the expense of today. Our congregation is in its twilight years, just as most of us are. But the important thing to remember is that for right now, we are still very much alive. That presents some interesting challenges for every one of us. In a large congregation, or even in one the size we were 20 years ago, each of us had the freedom to choose what roles we wanted to play in the shul's life and to what extent we wanted to get involved. Unfortunately, we don't have those kind of choices anymore. I'm sure most of you have heard the quote from the 12th chapter of Luke in the New Testament of the Christian Bible. "From whom much is given, much is expected." Well, I'm afraid that's us. We are the survivors. We've been given the gift of life. We have also been given the responsibility for maintaining this shoal for the rest of its life. None of us have the option of sitting back and assuming that someone else will do whatever needs to be done because there just aren't enough someone else's left. We all have different talents and gifts to offer Beth Israel. Some of us can contribute more financially than others. Some of us bake and contribute our labor to the social events here. Some of us help with the physical upkeep of the building, and some of us serve on the board. Most of us have served in the capacity in which we are comfortable. However, as we lose members, we who are left might frequently find ourselves called on to serve in new areas that aren't as comfortable as us as the old ones. This new year, this new day, is a time for introspection for all of us. We need to look at what we are currently doing for Beth Israel and see if we have anything else to offer. The care of a dying synagogue is a lot like caring for a dying family member. We hate what is happening, but we do what we have to make it as painless as possible. The one most important thing we can do for our shul right now is the easiest and most obvious of all courses of action. Be here. When we had more members, it might have seemed like a legitimate reason to stay home on Friday night if we were tired, if it were raining, if our favorite TV show was on, if we were invited to a party. It didn't matter as much if we were here or not. It matters now. A minyan is no longer something we can assume other people will take care of. The attendance of every one of us who can possibly be here has become vital to our survival. While this could sometimes be seen as a burden we have to bear, it also has a positive side if that's what we choose to look at. Think about some of the large congregations you have visited or maybe even been a member of. It not only didn't matter if you attended, many of the people there didn't even know your name. Large congregations tend to be comprised of cliques and many little special interest groups. Here, we are truly family because we have to be. There may be times when we irritate each other, but we stick together because this little handful is all we've got. That, to me, is the greatest strength of this congregation, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. I hope we live to be 120.